Hi, I'm Ruby Bright, and welcome to the Women's Foundation for Greater Memphis on Cable Tonight Show. This is the month of January, and it's all about renewal and celebrating life, looking forward to the potential of achieving success, and that's what the Women's Foundation is all about. So this show will be a little bit about women's leadership. As we go through the year 2013, we will talk about the year of women's leadership, and specifically building emerging leaders, as well as capitalizing on the strength of young professionals and all that they bring to particularly social change in our community, leadership development, and supporting programs that the Women's Foundation is supporting. So, welcome to the show. I'm Ruby Bright. As I said, I am the Executive Director of the Women's Foundation. And the Women's Foundation for Greater Memphis, for those of you who are just tuned in, I just want to let you know that our mission is to promote philanthropy, foster leadership, and help women and children reach their full potential. The Women's Foundation is proud of its work. Since 1996, the Women's Foundation has awarded more than $14.2 million, and we've supported over 395 programs. Specifically this year, during the fall, we actually announced a grant making of more than $630,000 to over 32 organizations. Tonight's show, as I said, is about women's leadership, and we have two very progressive, aggressive, and beautiful young professionals with me tonight to share in two very special events that will be coming up real soon. So would you join me in welcoming on the Women's Foundation for Greater Memphis January show, Lori Spicer Robinson. Hi, Lori.
Hi, Ruby. How are you?
I am fine. And with me next to her is Jennifer Oswalt. Jennifer, hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I sit here, I guess I should say, and just smile because I've known you both in excess of 5 years, I think, and just have seen the growth and level of leadership that you've brought to our community. So tonight, we want to talk about your involvement with the Women's Foundation. So I'll start with you, Lori, our event that's coming up pretty soon. Would you share with the community, first of all, your role as a professional, the work that you do, and then about this particular program specifically.
Okay. So by day, I serve as Manager of Community Affairs and Engagement and Volunteer Services for the Regional Medical Center at Memphis, also known as the Med. And it's a role that really involves doing community outreach, health screening, health fairs, but also recruiting and engaging employee volunteers to serve not only within our walls, but outside the walls as well of the hospital. But today, I'm here with the Young Women Philanthropists, which is an auxiliary of the Women's Foundation, and I'm part of the Leadership Circle, and we are hosting or co-hosting with the Women's Foundation the Modern Day Women's Conference, which we are very excited about this year. It started with the conversation with different members about the challenges of meeting professional women mentors, and so we wanted to tap into a way to kind of address that for young women in the city, and we're going to host this conference with great speakers, hopefully an opportunity for women to network with each other, but also seasoned women.
That's wonderful. So this is our show for January, and the Young Women Philanthropists. They are an auxiliary of the Women's Foundation, and as you said, emerging leaders. Jennifer was actually one of the founding members of Young Women Philanthropy, and has been very involved, in really connecting women. So as the Young Women Philanthropist has evolved, I know last year there was a lot of social networking, the membership getting to know each other is, and since that time kind of involved, and it is a membership organization, and getting involved in the community, but also learning about each other in a very cohesive manner.
Right.
And then learning about the Women's Foundation. So the Modern Day Women's Conference will be, let's go ahead and get that out to the public very quickly.
Yes. The dates are February 8th and 9th. February 8th will start off with a lock and key networking mixer, and it'll be hosted at the Women's Foundation for Greater Memphis, 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock p.m. And then that Saturday is a day full of workshops from 8 o'clock a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. at our presenting sponsors venue, Baptist Memorial Healthcare. And we have a myriad of speakers from various professional backgrounds, basically for women to come in, be educated, engage with one another, and empowered.
So let's continue to frame this Modern Day Women's Conference. So it's a day, first an evening of networking, which is a reception that is put together. And Jennifer, how many people do we have as members currently in the, or have a relationship with in the community?
And for young women philanthropists? There's around 35 or so active members, and you know, we have a lot who were involved in the beginning and have come back and forth. So there's probably over 100 that we touch.
And you first began with Young Women Philanthropists, but now is a member of our board of directors. I think I need to say that and she serves on the finance committee as well as almost every fund development co-chair, right? But philanthropy really is a learning process. I think you both will agree. And then understanding that everyone can be a philanthropist, right? And if you start thinking about that and giving intentionality to giving as you build your career, it becomes a natural part. And that social networking piece of it is essential. And, you know, just kind of talk about some of the networking projects, Jennifer, that Young Women Philanthropy is doing.
Sure. I mean, I think what we call it pick your project. So we just want everyone to find what they have to give back and join the group in that way. Because not everyone has time to participate in every event that we have. But usually there's something that we're doing that they find an interest in and want to give back with. And so some of the larger projects include the Youth Leadership Forum, which is after the Women's Foundation Tribute Luncheon and hosts the high school girls in the community. And there's all kinds of different ways that you can bring your skill set to help that event. We've helped out at the Lester Community Center, which is a really fun way to get to know the other members as well as giving back to the community. So a lot of things like that.
And getting to know the larger size of the community and all of the challenges that we have in terms of building our community. Lori, the Young Women Philanthropy put in a lot of emphasis on not only enriching yourself and helping create a pathway for success, but also thinking about giving back to the community and learning about the Women's Foundation. And again, I go back to this Modern Day Women's Seminar. It's the first one that you know, we've hosted as an organization and collectively, you know, Auxiliary and the Women's Foundation. And I was just looking at the recent roster of speakers. We have a great number of speakers, and I'm sure that you share with us some of the speakers that's going to be at the conference.
So there are about 9 different sessions, and for one of the opening sessions, it's Cheryl Robinson Jackson, and she works for an aerospace company, and she has broke many glass ceilings, being the first woman as well as the first African-American woman to serve in that role. She's in a leadership capacity, so she will open us up with defining success for a modern day woman, which we're very excited to hear from her. We also have other seminars that focus on women entrepreneurship. Statistics show that women are growing in numbers in entrepreneurial roles. Not quite where we want us to be in comparison to men, but we definitely are increasing over the years. And so we will have Alandis Dobbins, who's now over the MORE program with the City of Memphis, Elizabeth Lamont, who is with Launcher City, and we'll also have Pearl Shaw, who's going to speak with us, who has a company with her husband. And so we're very excited to hear from all of them as well. But our keynote speaker, who will host the luncheon, which focuses on engaging across generations, which we think is very key for this, the entire conference. It talks about how women can continue to create that pipeline, but be active in that pipeline of mentorship, whether it's with young girls, young professional women, middle-level management women, and seasoned women. And so our keynote speaker for that will be Ms. Alandra Washington with the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. So we are very excited to hear from all of those women. And it's an opportunity not for young women just to learn about themselves, both personally and professionally, but it's really a way for them to engage with the Women's Foundation. A lot of young women, 25 to 45, are not sure quite how they tap into philanthropy. And so this is a way, one, to engage them with the organization, but hopefully connect them with the organization so they will be continual supporters.
And so it's open to anyone in the community.
Yes.
And we have a flyer here that kind of talks about, you know, when it is. It's going to be February
8th and 9th. And the Friday evening event, again, will be from 6 to 8. And the Saturday event will be from 8 a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m.
Great. And how many people are we hoping to have there?
200 young women.
Wow. Oh, and our presenting sponsor is Baptist Women's Hospital. And what is that? What is the second sponsor?
It is the Downtown Memphis Commission, who has been fortunate. We've been fortunate enough to reach out to them and partner for this event, and they are very excited about bringing something like this with the city, but also connecting with the Women's Foundation.
And we're excited about that as well, particularly as it relates to being downtown. And Anita Vaughn is a past chair of the board, and she is such a wonderful administrator at Baptist Women. And we've partnered with both the hospital, Baptist Memorial Hospital, and the foundation, who's been generous to support our Legends work, as well as this initiative. So it's a great exposure for all involved, and it's a great partnership. And your leadership, along with your team, has been pretty amazing to bring this about. And you know, tonight, as I said, I'm Ruby Bright. I am the Executive Director of the Women's Foundation for Greater Memphis. And we have here this session for January is about women's leadership, building that leadership in 2003. And I have two dynamic women who are very close to the Women's Foundation in several ways. But tonight we're talking about two very special initiatives that they are taking on for the month of February. And I've introduced them once, but for you, those of you who are just joining us, we will talk about how you can sign up and how you can be involved. But I have with me tonight Lori Spicer Robinson and Jennifer Oswalt. Jennifer, now we've heard all about Young Women Philanthropy, but you have really, I think that you're the founder, as Lori is, of Modern Day Women's Conference. You're the founder of the Women's Initiative think tank. Now tell us a little bit about what that's about, Jennifer.
Sure. The Women's Initiative think tank actually sort of came about because of Young Women Philanthropists, and we had an idea of Philanthropy 101, which would be a lunch and learn type series. And there was a lot of enthusiasm around that, but what we realized is we really needed the support of the employers of our participants, because oftentimes people who are young in their career don't have the ability to take off to come to a lunch and learn without the support. So we decided to gather. That's one reason why we gathered the women, but we tried to convene the leaders of women's groups or diversity groups at some of the larger corporations in the city. And we just had a great first meeting where everyone shared the mission of their group, their biggest accomplishments, and their biggest challenges. It was just amazing how there were so many commonalities in the challenges, and such a great desire to collaborate and share best practices and really tackle some of those issues in a more broad way across the city than just within their company. So that matched up nicely with the great demand that we had from the Young Women Philanthropists to have programming like that.
Right, it's just the next level,
It is.
you know, of leadership and building, and we have some amazing women on our board of directors, and they would, when we talk about both organizations and the direction that you're going around leadership, that many of them said, if I had that, you know, when I was building my career, I would be much further. And what I can't imagine, you know, with people being CEOs. But I will say this, is that, you know, one of the things that we found as a part of really looking at women's leadership in the community is that many women's initiative organizations within companies are not aware that there are other,
That's
you
right.
know, women's initiative. And I think that that probably is one of the strong areas that created the interest to create the women's think tank
Yes.
initiative, or the women's
Definitely.
initiative think tank. And just to know that there's some interest across the city, and I think there's probably a listing of over 20 organizations.
Yes, definitely. Some of the largest employers of women in the city. And it really also is a nice connection with the Modern Day Women's Conference in that there was a lot of interest from these women to do cross-mentoring, not only across generations, but also across companies. So not just mentor someone within their company, but reach out across the city. And so that fits nicely with the Friday night event. With the mentoring
Absolutely,
event with the women.
because you can do things with the company, and you certainly is within company hours. But to learn that or know that you are sharing something that is also being replicated in another area, and then at some point, everybody coming together, to share it helps build the interest and keeps everything strong. And thus we're creating a better work environment for those women. And I know that it's very important to the Women's Foundation to support these type initiatives, because as I said, it's building leadership, but more importantly, new energy, new ideas, and then connecting our seasoned Women's Foundation leaders with young leaders. You always say that, we want to connect mentors, but they are very especially interested in connecting to you all. And I say they, we are. I get energy just being around you all, and it, it keeps me thinking as well as learning. And we can talk about this for a little bit. I think is that we also, as seasoned professionals, I think I can say that, it's hard to let go. And I think that you all inspire us to feel comfortable and start that process, although if my deputy director was sitting here today, she would really say that I have a long way to go, in this area. But don't you agree that you're in our board meetings, and Lori, you served on committees. Do you see that transition and hope for feeling good about the future leadership there?
Definitely. I mean, one of the main goals of Young Women Philanthropists was to create the next generation of leaders in our city, but we also have a lot to learn. I recognize that just with everything we try to put together and everything we try to do, and so we need that time to learn and watch.
Well, there's a natural being, as I said, a woman who has a leadership role in our community, and being inspired by young women, as well as being challenged, to meet the mission of the organization and ensure that we are fulfilling that mission. So we have to. Things are natural. Right. There are natural processes that come into play, and what brings uniqueness to that is, you guys responding with. But I think that this is another way. So it challenges us to think about it from both sides. And what we hope to have come out of that, which we've seen through both the emergence of these organizations, is the balance between getting it to a point where we all feel good about it, right? And I always say that the show starts, do we have a show? And I'm just so excited about the potential of both of these events. The Modern Day Women's Conference that will take place on February 8th and 9th, starting with a reception on the 8th at the Women's Foundation's office at 1 Commerce Square. For more information about that, you can call 578-9346. That's the Women's Foundation's office, 578-9346, Modern Day Women's Conference.
Yes.
And then you also can go to our website, the Women's Foundation for Greater Memphis website, and there is information on the web. You young professionals are very techy, and so for those of you listening tonight. And also, I will say that this is not just for young women. It's for women who want to be among young women and women who want to share their expertise. And then also to sign up for mentorship.
Right.
We would like that. Anyone that's listening, this is the Women's Foundation for Greater Memphis. And if you would like information on mentoring young women, please call our office, 578-9346, to learn more. Now, let's talk about the date. The date, Jennifer, I also didn't ask you to share your company and
Sure.
your professional work.
Sure, I'm a CFO of Contemporary Media, which is the publisher of Memphis Magazine, a Memphis Wire, Memphis Parent, and MBQ.
And you just made a transition.
I have, yes. Switched industries out of financial advising into publishing, but I've always been in the accounting side. So.
And you're also, I mean, you are a young professional with a family. And balancing that balance of, so this yes. seminar with the Women's Initiative think tank is just right on point for you, right?
Definitely. Definitely. The number one topic is always balance. And we decided that rather than say balance, we say effectiveness, work-life effectiveness. That's the new thing that we're going to try to explore, because balance is not really the way to do it. So, but we do have an event. It is to introduce the Women's Initiative think tank to the community, and it is on February 19th. We have 3 great speakers, 2 local and one national speaker. And it's really by invitation from the participants of the Women's Initiative think tank, but you can call the Women's Foundation for more information on that. And it really is to kick off our purpose, which is to identify and address these issues that career women face, and do it in a collective way across the city.
But so if you are listening and you're a member of or aware of a women's initiative group at your company, you most likely are part of this group, or certainly we want you to be a part.
Exactly. Yes.
So, contact us again at 578-9346. Women's Initiative Think Tank, February 19th, location?
At the Brooks Museum.
Yes.
In the auditorium, and it's our presenting sponsor is Dixon Hughes Goodman. We've had a great participant, Amy Carney. She's been part of Young Women Philanthropists and now with WIT, so they make a great partner for us.
They are, both of these companies are very supportive in the community, great philanthropic supporters throughout the community, so having this natural fit for both of these events, the Modern Day Women's Conference as well as the Women's Initiative think tank. And with the think tank, let's also say there's a little treat with that, with the...
Yes, the Brooks has an exhibit, Angels and Tomboys, which we will get a private tour of, as well as just browsing through the exhibit.
So it will start at
3:30. And the program, it'll be a panel discussion until 5, and then afterwards there's a networking reception as well as a tour of the exhibit.
Great. So that's a fun as well as a great learning opportunity, and then to be able to see the exhibit, I think that's pretty phenomenal, and we're proud of that partnership. The Women's Foundation is very proud of the partnership with the Brooks, with the Dixon Hughes, with the Women's Initiative think tank, and then Baptist, as well as our downtown Memphis Commission. These are leading organizations in our community, and it's very, very complimenting to the Women's Foundation and to you, both of your leadership. And your and I know you have committee members, and we certainly don't want to leave anyone out. But I won't put you on the spot and have you name, the committee members, because that's not fair. But I think that we do have some leadership that you might want to talk about. in terms of other members? I know Gina Myers is the chair.
So Gina Myers is the current Young Women Philanthropist chair this year, and she's done an excellent job of coming up with programming to last us throughout 2013 to really connect with other young professional women and bring them into the Women's Foundation circle through YWP. And so she's been our spearhead cheerleader to put on this event and support us if we needed anything from YWP. So
That's really kind of nice. And then do you have Amy?
Amy's been very involved with Dixon Hughes Goodman. We just have a nice collaboration of all the companies, and these are the women who lead the either women's group or diversity initiative. Companies like ServiceMaster and International Paper, and a lot of the bigger companies you would think of, as well as the professional services firms with Baker Donaldson and Deloitte and Dixon Hughes Goodman and companies all like
So
this.
all the companies,
Yes.
FedEx, International
Yes.
Paper, First Tennessee.
Yes.
And some of the smaller companies, but those who really have made a commitment to create a space and opportunity for women.
Yes.
To network around whether that's community social service or build career building and relationship building in our community. And just learning about the community. As you both were talking, I was thinking about you and your growth in the community, being a part of many of the leadership organizations in the community. I know you with the Leadership Academy.
New Memphis Institute.
Yeah, yes, that's correct. New Memphis Institute.
Yes.
And yeah, you're a fellow for that as well. And you were just recently recognized for something that put you on the cover of a magazine, right?
Yes, Women to Watch in the Memphis Magazine, the October issue. It was a great wedding gift. I got it when I returned back from my honeymoon.
That's right. Congratulations. She is a newlywed.
Thank you. But yes, it talked about my current role at the Regional Medical Center, but also community work that I've done, which is my passion, what I love to do in Memphis. So it was a esteemed honor.
It resonates with the Women's Foundation, watching as you champion whether it's the Memphis Urban League Young Professionals or the Youth Leadership Forum. Both of you have been leaders in our Youth Leadership Forum and set that up, and so has Gina. So it's a building ground. The Women's Foundation for Greater Memphis Women's Leadership Initiative in January. We're excited about 2 special events. The Modern Day Women's Conference, February 8th and 9th, and then the Women's Initiative Forum that will be on February 19th at the Brooks.
Yes.
At the Modern Day Women's Conference is going to be at Baptist Hospital, the Garrett Auditorium, new facility there. Thank you both for joining us at the Women's Foundation and for your awesome leadership. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.